Welcome to Old Guy Tech,
the OGT.TV recording studio.
Technology for the rest of us.
Hi, this is Rob Charny, Old Guy Tech TV, and we're here with Crime Beat with Sheriff John DeAugustini, Sheriff of El Dorado County. Thank you, John. Thanks for coming again, as always.
Thanks for having me.
We've been absent for a couple of months. We've had some things going on, so I apologize for those of you that like to follow along with us every month. But, hey, these things happen. These things happen. Yep. But we got some new stuff to report out. You may know about some of it, but let's talk about it a little bit. Let's talk about the facilities and where are we at with that now? What's going on?
Well, matter of fact, next week. So today we're recording this on the 12th. So next week we're on the 13th. Yesterday was the 12th.
Right.
So the 19th, the board will be getting a presentation on the USDA application. I think we talked about that on the program before, and hopefully at the recommendation of the Facilities Finance Committee, they will approve submitting a full application for that funding.
Oh.
The good thing about it, since the last time we spoke about it, the rate has actually dropped.
Oh, good.
USDA contacted the county and wrote them a letter and advised them if they can get the application in and approved by the end of June, that the 3.25% offered rate will drop to 2.875.
Wow.
So that's pretty significant.
Yes, it is.
So obviously I'm encouraging them and to move forward
and
not drag their feet. And then the next big meeting, which will be probably sometime in May, will be a presentation for, which is recommended by USDA that the board has to approve. Basically facility scope, the scope of the construction, and the cost. So that's going to be a pretty significant meeting and presentation, because one of the things that we're hearing already is the board is starting to back off a little bit and maybe consider phasing. And I understand why they're doing it. I mean, that's a lot of money. But the problem is that it's only going to cost more later.
Yes.
And it's not like these are wants. These are needs. So if they phase in later the morgue, well, I don't know what the cost for the morgue is, $2.5 million, $3 million of the total project today in the project. If we hold off 5-10 years and then build a morgue, it'll be double that. So it's a need now. Let's do it now. One of the supervisors has made a couple comments about the training facility and the range. That's not a need right now. Well, it is a need, especially since post-Ferguson, when everything is all about training and all about record keeping and statistics and making sure we have all our ducks in a row.
Right.
Not that we don't, but we need to always do better and thinking ahead. We've showed how the efficiencies and the savings for an indoor range in our own training facility. We'll have the storage areas that are attached to it, the inside classrooms. And again, it's a need now.
Right.
If you put it off as part of this project, down the road, it's going to cost you twice as much.
Absolutely.
So I don't know how that meeting will go. I know that we'll have all our ducks in a row. We have had all our ducks in a row. We're going to try and do one more round of community outreach meetings like we did a month and a half ago, to show just kind of update the community of where we are, and then also give them some feedback as to they had some really good comments that we got from doing that. A lot of good ideas that we've incorporated into the bridging docks, the preparation of the bridging docks, the specifications, and the concepts that we're looking at. So it's really coming along. It's very exciting. We're able to even find efficiencies in this part of the planning process. Vanner said. And I've always said, they said 106,000 square feet is what the needs studies show. We've already whittled that down, and I think we're safe around 98,000 square feet. So we've cut that back significantly. We've, through a bunch of different tours, looking at other facilities, looking at This is kind of a new thing in government, right?
Yeah.
Look at the private industry. What is the private industry doing? And looking for more cost-effective ways to build these types of facilities.
Sure.
You look at what private industry, it's all cost-driven, right?
Right.
The more you can keep your costs down, the more your profit margin, your profit and loss statements look better at the end. Well, we're doing that as government now in this project anyway, going around and looking at different things that we can cut cost on while still keeping it within the parameters of the Essential Facilities Act or whatever it's called, where the codes that drive that.
Right.
But finding smarter and cheaper ways to do it.
Right. Right. Well, so your financing really is taken care of, and especially if you get the rate that we're talking about on it and all that. Personally, I'd hate to see you cut down your size too much because you have to always factor in growth.
Yeah, absolutely,
right?
and we are. We feel very, very comfortable with the amount that we have, that we're planning out for at least 20, 30, maybe even 40 years. The worst thing that could happen is, like just happened in Calaveras and a lot of other facilities that we've talked to, or new facility agencies that have put in new facilities, is, it happened the day we moved in. We were too small.
Yeah,
we didn't plan enough for the future, and that's why it really concerns me when we go for this big presentation in May. That the feedback. Well, do you really need that much space? Well, I'm here to tell you, we're not. I promise you, we're not doing anything more than what we need and what we're trying to plan for. Space that we can use now for whatever we can convert later to extra staff, for extra storage, for extra files, for extra another live scan machine. We have programmed in one live scan machine, just like we have. Well, right now our CCWs, we can't even hardly schedule enough just to keep up with what we have.
Right.
We need another live scan machine. So looking ahead for room for that.
Right.
Yeah. And that's just one little that's one part of it. It's a big deal, but we are absolutely planning for the future. We feel pretty confident with 20-year numbers. 30, 40-year, nobody makes that crystal ball.
Yeah, that's pretty far out. But 20 years, you're going to know you're going to need. We're only expanding here. I mean, the needs for the community is going to grow. So I think
the needs for the community, and even looking at the trends in law enforcement. We have programmed into this, not into the building, but for additional space onto the evidence building. We have programmed in an addition for lab. That's the wave of the future. You look at agencies throughout the nation. Their local Department of Justices, their state Department of Justices aren't able to keep up with the workload.
Right.
Here in California, we're seeing it. The turnaround times on toxicology scans, for drugs, for samples, for rape kits, for whatever it is, just take forever to get back.
Right.
So the trend now is, to the extent you can, or the possibility that you can, having your own labs on site,
trying to bring
funding
in-house
those own labs. For instance, right now there's a new piece of equipment, and there was an article in a magazine I read. An agency back east got one that will do codable, meaning you can put the DNA ID into the database, a codable sample in 48-hour turnaround for DNA.
Wow.
That's huge.
That's huge.
So that machine's not only, it's a lot of money, it's $250,000. So, but that's the wave of the future. That's where we're going.
Right.
So we're looking at that. We're looking at what other technology we're looking at in the future. Again, training post-Ferguson. We're going to have we'll have it before the building's done, a virtual training.
Oh, good.
With the screens and all that stuff. So that we can train more scenario-based training and decision-making skills, so that when we have a situation, and it's a matter of time, we'll have those shootings, those issues come up. we'll be able to go back and document training. Yes, we trained on those decision-making skills. We did everything we could to make sure that our deputies have the training, the knowledge, the equipment, and everything that they need to do their job and to make those split-second decisions. And we've gone through it, and here's the data, and here's the times, and here's the dates, and boom, 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 boom. And right now, quite honestly, for instance, night range, right?
Right.
We're a 24-hour operation. We work 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. That means half of our time is in the daytime, half of our time is in the nighttime. Out of all of our firearms qualifications, we qualify one time a year for nights. Well, that doesn't make much sense.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And how are we going to justify that down the road? And I'm not worried that a defense attorney or somebody or a civil rights attorney is going to hear this. They all know it, and they're just waiting.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And what's even worse is you almost have to get a special use permit just to do this night training. I know a little bit about what's involved with this, and it's just crazy.
Exactly.
You know?
So from a county standpoint, you can pay for it now, and we can get ahead of this curve, or you can pay later.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And it makes all the sense to me that, not only that, you're so far behind. I mean, if you look at the structures that you're in,
I don't want to say that too loud.
Well, I'll say it then. I mean, I'm familiar with all of this, and I think even if the county started looking at the cost savings and lease rentals and everything else that you have to spend all this money on because you can't be under one roof. We've talked about, the water cooler talk that you can't have and all the other stuff. It just makes sense that we have a public safety facility where everything is right there, and that even the citizens know where to go and what it's all about and how to do these things. Right. I mean, it's all about public service, and this is what you're doing. And I talk to people all the time. And where do I go? Who do I talk to? What do I see? And I personally, I can't wait to see you get this new facility. I think it's a long time coming. I think it's going to be great for the community. I really do.
Thank you, and I agree. We own the property now, so that closed escrow a month or so ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's done. So it's at the end of Industrial Drive off of Missouri Flat. The county closed escrow on that 30-some acres out there. You're absolutely right. The hard costs for efficiencies and savings are very significant, and will be very real. But the most important is the soft cost efficiencies. The water cooler talk,
right?
Everything else, that's priceless. You can't put a price on that,
right?
It's good business. So
yeah,
we're getting there.
Yeah, I think it's exciting, and I think the public should think it's exciting as well, and get behind you on this.
Got to keep it moving. Got to keep the train going. I can't let it stall. Like I said, we're doing good. The board, I think we have for the most part good support on the board. At least 4 votes.
Good.
We'll see where the next 2 meetings go. But, I encourage anybody to keep your eyes open. We'll talk about our Facebook page here in a minute, but keep your eyes open on our Facebook page or any other public notices that we have for when we start doing these community outreach meetings again. And so that you can see where we are, see what we've incorporated from your ideas, and then also get information on what you can do to help us move forward. Important dates for the board meetings and things like that, and I'll try and keep also on these shows and up to date with you on when those meetings come up. So.
That'll be great. Yeah, we'll definitely push them out there. And we were talking about just down on Facebook. Probably the majority of you are on it. If you're not, that's okay. And they have a tremendous amount of information that EDSO does on that Facebook page. And if you look at it, they keep you updated on crime situations. And I mean, I was looking at it today, and we're talking about that guy that walked out of Growlersburg.
Yes.
That's up on there, and
caught him. And no, this has just been fantastic, overwhelmingly. The support and the following on our Facebook, our social media outreach was more than I could have imagined, more than our consultant that we have helping us work on this could have imagined. Her name is Laura Cole from Cole Pro Media. She used to be Channel 13's Laura Cole on our local news stations. We were probably the 5th or 6th agency to finally take her advice and get it done. But it's amazing the crimes that we're solving on Facebook.
Oh yeah,
is
look at all the eyes you have now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. The support for it from the community has been overwhelming. It really gives us an opportunity to put the good stuff out there that our deputies and our staff, all of our staff. This week is Public Communications Week, or Dispatchers Week, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw that.
We put that on Facebook, so they get the proper recognition that they deserve. And one of the best posts we had, and it would have gone viral if not for Facebook going down for 48 hours on us. We had a young man run away from a group home. A deputy located this young man, and even though calls were stacked, there was a lot of stuff going on. Nothing emergency priority wise, but he had a lot to do. He took the time to, rather than put the kid in the car and drive him back, had his partner drive his car, and he walked with this young man, and they just had a walk and a talk. And there was a picture taken by one of our sergeants of this deputy and this young man walking down the railroad tracks. Mm-hmm. And it's priceless. I mean, you just get the picture, and it's priceless. But it's been really, really good for us. I think it's been really good for our county. And the more followers, obviously, the most important part of it, and the reason we did it, we want to build followers because in the event of a major emergency, then we have another avenue of getting clear, concise information out to as many people as we can in the shortest amount of time.
Yeah, I think it's a great tool for that.
So it's been fantastic.
Yeah, that's good. And you go visit it. It's easy enough. Just go on your Facebook page, and if you have one, and just type in El Oro County Sheriff's Office, and their page will pop right up. And you can like it and get the regular stuff.
Just follow
to
it. Yeah, you'll see what's going on in the community. You'll see crime-wise, good stuff-wise. It's just it's a good page. We're very, very proud of it.
Yeah, good. No, that's and that's for all of us. So thank you very much for doing that. I think this will be a great thing for us. Let's talk a little bit. We talk about crime and the statistics of what's happening in El Dorado County and what you're seeing in other counties and maybe coming our way. What are we seeing?
Rob, it's odd. We are still flat here.
Yeah.
I mean, we have our pockets. We'll see our little pockets here pop up and whatnot, and those are concerning. Any crime is concerning. But when you look at the statistics since AB 109 and Proposition 47 in Sacramento County and San Joaquin County and other surrounding counties, it's very disturbing. Mm-hmm. But we're just not seeing it here yet. And I know I've been saying that for a while, and I'm expecting it any day. I'm expecting our numbers to just shoot up. But it's not there. We still have room at the end. My management staff, command staff meeting Monday morning, we had over 100 beds available in our jail. And we're not doing early pretrial releases. We're not doing alternative programs. We're not doing any of that. We're doing the same things we did, although we're treating our dealing with our incarcerated population differently in that we do have more programs available to them. Mm-hmm. And probation is doing it the same way as with the community correction center and whatnot. But we have beds. All my peers, they're flowing over. We're still renting beds to Shasta, to Amador, to Alpine. We're just very, very, very blessed right now, and I'm very hesitant. I don't want to jinx it. But,
I don't think you will. But, and that speaks a little bit of our community as well, however, I think. I mean, we're in a very tight-knit community, and people watch out for each other.
You're absolutely right. But the transient knuckleheads don't know that typically, and that's a lot of what crime we do have is transient idiots coming up from the valley.
Yeah, so it's not homegrown. It's coming up this way,
or maybe because we have so many CCWs, that word's out too, and they don't want to mess with us.
There you go. Maybe that has something to do with it as well. Certainly would make me think twice. Let's go to a soft target, like San Francisco or something.
So one other thing that we didn't have on the list here to talk about today, and I don't think we got to talk about it before, or maybe I just got it started, but we have finally, the resident deputy program is up and running.
Great.
Full steam. All 3 resident posts on the west slope are filled. We have Deputy Steve Ragasano up in the Georgetown Divide area. He lives up in that area and is becoming very involved in the community. We have Deputy Sprague up in the Canyon area from Camino all the way up to Strawberry. He lives up in that area, and same thing, getting involved in the community. And then in the South County, we have Deputy Wunschel. He actually has tonight a meet and greet out in that area at the Pioneer Park.
Oh, great.
The Lions Club and another organization came together and wanted to introduce him to the community, so he's going to be out there. We have them all outfitted. They have their take-home vehicles. They are able to flex their schedules. They can go to community events, community barbecues. If you have issues in your community, they're the point of contact. To put it in the most simplest terms, they're an extension of me in your community. They still are working a shift and pulling a beat, but they have the ability to flex that shift so that they can attend those other functions.
Well, that's good because that also increases response time.
Absolutely.
Right? Isn't it what we're looking for? So now we have a deputy that lives and breathes and eats and works in that
area and knows the people.
Right.
We want to get to know all the people. It's a great program. It works. It's very effective.
Yeah.
So
now, help me here. Did we not at one time have this?
Yes, we did.
Okay, so
we did.
We're going kind of back to the way it was.
Just what I said. This was, and I don't want to I use the term. It was kind of a campaign platform that I had. I wanted to bring the resident deputy program back.
Right.
Because I know it works. I remember when I was a kid growing up, we had Bill White, and then we had McCauley, and then we had Reagan, and those were our deputies. We knew them. They stopped by frequently from time to time at the ranch and visited with my dad. And then when that program went away, and I don't know what year it was. I would say the mid to late 80s. It just drifted away. And then when I was in Amador County, working in Amador County on patrol, and I was accepted and assigned as it was a pseudo-resident deputy position because I didn't live in the county. I lived in El Dorado County.
Right.
But my beat in my area, they called it the city's position. I had Plymouth, Amador City, Dry Town, Fiddletown, River Pines, and that whole northwest end of the county. That was my area. I didn't have to go to any other shift or work any other beats and whatever. That was my beat. That was my area. That was my shift, day shift, and the ability to flex my shift. So I went to the city council meetings in Plymouth and Amador City. I went to the community barbecues and the water district meetings in River Pines, and I got to know everybody. And because I knew everybody and those barriers and those walls were broke down and everybody knew me, it was crime solving was so simple. Somebody did something. Yeah. Oh, hey, DeAugustini, you might want to go talk to so and so.
Right.
It was just, it works.
Yeah, it does. It really does. The other thing that I one of my concerns has always been with law enforcement is that the general public or citizens are somewhat afraid of their law enforcement, and maybe there are places in this country where that's justified. And what I like about the resident program and what I like about, the guys being more sociable and taking the time to talk to people like the young man that you just talked about situation makes all the difference in the world. And I think this has a lot to do, some of it has a lot to do with the difference between the sheriff's department and the police department. I have an issue on that.
I agree. I agree. I agree.
And I think it's really great. I've been kind of keeping track of your deputies. They go by, I wave. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I get a wave, sometimes I don't, and maybe they're busy thinking of something else, But people go, "What are you doing?" And I said,
waving
at the deputy. And they go, don't do that. Why not? I want to say hi to the guy. I want to say thank you for helping. Yes,
they are us.
And that's the other point, isn't it? They live in this community. Their kids are here.
That's right.
They're just like you and me, except they're in their job. They have to interact, and sometimes it's not popular. Maybe they have to do something that has to be done.
That's right.
But that's their job. But yet, if you get an attitude where you're not scared of them, if we get the young people in particular to no longer look at law enforcement as, oh, I got to hide from them, I don't want to have anything to do with them.
Right.
Make sure that you get law enforcement that it's friendly, they get to know them, they're not afraid of them, they become almost friends type of thing. Big
That's
plus
right.
on that.
That's right. No, you're absolutely right, and we're very, very blessed, so blessed in El Dorado County to have that relationship with the community and always working on that relationship with the community, because that's something that always has to be fostered. I had a conversation with one of my peers last week. I was at the California State Sheriff's Association's annual conference, of which I got top gun in the shooting contest.
Yay! Good job.
Finally.
Yeah.
And every year I come in second. This year I won.
You know what?
Yeah.
Good job.
So, anyways, the whole topic of militarization of law enforcement, and the uniforms that we're now wearing, and the load-bearing vests, and the reasoning behind that and whatnot, and for the most part, how we dress, the uniforms we wear, the gear that we wear, there's a reason for it. There's a reason why we've gone that way. The load-bearing vest, studies show we get that weight off of their belt, we get it onto their shoulders, we have less workers' comp
less
issues,
back
issues,
issues. That's right.
So it works. The appearance, well, they look like soldiers. Well, you know what? The appearance can be overcome by service. Mm-hmm. When we interact with the community, when we're in the local businesses, when we're talking with the youth, when we're at the school grounds, when we're on Main Street, when we're driving down the road, see somebody cutting firewood, we get out and we talk to them. When we deal with service, we can overcome that quote unquote militarization issue.
Right.
Because it's all about service.
Right.
What it boils down to.
Right.
We are public servants. We're part of the government. We're the executive branch, part of the executive branch of the government. We enforce the laws. We're a nation of laws. Yep. I don't agree with some of them as well, but they're the laws. We don't like them. We get the right people in office to change those laws.
I hope.
But we're very, very blessed in El Dorado County to have that relationship with the community, and understanding that we always have to work on fostering that relationship.
Yeah,
doing everything we can.
It's an ongoing process.
Absolutely.
And I think that's one of the things that the guys get out of the academy and they're taught an attitude one way, but they get into your office, into EDSO, and your training officers take the time to get them to learn your philosophy and what it is. And I think it makes all the difference in the world.
We hammer every day. I mean, our vision statement, the vision statement of the El Dorado County Sheriff's Office: modern approach to traditional law enforcement values, total enforcement on crime and criminals, total care for victims, witnesses in the community, and total professionalism through training and by example. I hammer that every time we have a welcome ceremony for new employees and we have all our staff in there.
Right.
I go over that and what it means.
Right.
Today, I just interviewed. I'm the last step in the process for every new employee that comes through the system. The last step of the process is an interview with the sheriff. I go over that with them, and I tell them and go in depth on what it means and what I want to see and what I expect. So they're ingrained. They get that. They're hearing it over and over. We have our challenge coins that every employee carries that has the maintenance of that on it.
Right.
So that we never forget. He's got one of those. So that we never forget. Yeah. Because it is. And, law enforcement, from not just the deputies, but from the civilian staff, the support staff, the other professional staff in the agency, this business makes you cynical. Mm-hmm. It's not a bad thing. It's a survival thing.
Right.
You can't be successful in this business, and some people will disagree with me, but you truly can't be successful in this business if you don't have some level of cynicism. Mm-hmm. You just can't, because why? People lie to us, mm-hmm. right?
Yeah.
So we rely on facts. We do investigations or whatever, but we are by nature, we become cynical. Well, that cynicism can get to the level of what we've seen. Those walls build up,
right.
The us and the them. We're the cops. You're the citizen.
Right.
And that is not healthy.
Right. No, it's not.
Not healthy.
No, not at all. And I know for a number of years prior to you coming in here, I kind of felt that way. But I really...
That's why I ran.
Yeah. And thank God we have you. Before I forget this, I want to say, how neat is it for every employee of EDSO to actually come and see the sheriff and talk to him before the hiring process? Because how many times is the sheriff, this guy over here, in fact, the only time you ever talk to that guy is when you're usually in trouble. Right? let's face it, that's the way it usually is. And I personally think it's great.
Well, I think it's important.
Yeah.
I think it's important because from the standpoint of who sets those standards for the agency, who's the ultimate person that sets those standards, and ultimately the one that takes responsibility when things are have gone awry.
Right.
That's me. So if I don't take that responsibility and that time to invest in our employees and the future of our agency and the service that we provide, then shame on me. That's
right.
Bad. That's not good for me.
Right.
So I take that very, very serious, and I think that the dividends absolutely do pay off. You know, it's important, and it helps me too to get to know them. You know, I hear from time to time. You know, you don't make everybody happy, and that's fine. I'm not in this business to make everybody happy. But I hear from time to time, the sheriff doesn't even know my name. No, I know your name. I might not remember it right when I see you walking down the hallway, but I know your name. And if you've been hired in the last 6 years, we've had those conversations in those face-to-faces.
Right.
I guarantee that. But it's very important. I always said I like the management by walking around theory. I try and get out of my office as much as I can, although the last year and a half, it seems it's been less and less and less. But I try and get out as often as I can. I met with one of the resident deputies this morning, talked to him a little bit, was at our SWAT selection testing yesterday and got to hang out with the guys, and what a great group of guys. My goodness, these guys are awesome.
Cool.
And watch them go through part of that process. But I'm very, very proud of our agency. I'm very, very proud of where we've come in the 6 years that I've been there. And I'm very excited to see where we're going in the future, because we can always do better. Whenever I hear, well, that's the way we do it. Well, let's find a better way to do it, you know?
Yeah.
We're always looking for ways to do things better. It's exciting. I still enjoy it.
It's hard for me to believe it's been 6 years.
It's been 6 years, buddy.
It's pretty amazing.
6 years.
Look how gray I've gotten in those 6 years. But no, I personally think it's really good, and I give you guys a lot of credit. I mean, there's some of us still a little standoffish, but for the most part,
I know. We're working on it.
They're doing good. They really are. We happened to eat at Applebee's for the Special Olympics.
Oh, thank you.
Thing. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I took the Pettits and we went up and ate out down
there.
Right.
That's right. Thank you. Yeah, Laura told me you and Ross were there.
Yeah, we showed up. So we did our little part. Actually, I showed up. Ross kind of hung along. He didn't know what he was doing. But anyway, it was very good. You guys are doing a great job with that part too. I wanted to mention that as well. Special Olympics is really special, really is, and the support from your department is really great.
Yep.
That's enjoyable. Really quick, and I know that it's gotten a little out of the press, but I wanted just to talk about the situation with the fake oxycodone. It's actually fentanyl, and we had a death here in El Dorado County over it. What's the status now on? Are we getting a handle on this? Have you?
Yeah, I believe it was. I don't know if it was the SAC DA or somebody put out a statement last week that the overdose have fallen off. We're not seeing them at the moment. I think the word got out significantly of the danger of these counterfeit pills.
Right.
Basically is what they were.
Yeah.
Our agency, working with the DEA and a bunch of other agencies, and a real hastily formed and effective task force, hit this hard and have been doing some really good investigative work on this case. And without giving too many particulars until everything wraps up, they've been very successful.
Good.
So, yeah, it was bad. And this number one, fentanyl is a very, very, very potent pain reliever.
Right.
Very potent. So you're talking about the difference between a dose and an overdose in milligrams. You just little bitty bits. And for somebody to play around, and from what I've been told, some of the debrief and the information that I've received was the person or persons or the organization that was doing this, they, even though the pills looked very authentic, I mean exactly authentic.
Number was stamped on it and everything.
The dose of fentanyl that was added to each individual varied greatly.
Oh, wow.
So a person may have bought illicitly some of this Vicodin, these fake Vikes, and taken 2, and the fentanyl dose was minimal, and they got the high that they expected. And then the next one was off the charts, and they overdosed. So bottom line is if you didn't get it prescribed from a doctor and you didn't pick it up at a pharmacy, don't take it.
Yeah, don't play around with it,
Don't play around with it.
No.
That's dangerous stuff.
It is. It's real dangerous. So I'm glad to hear that we're
doing really good there.
Yeah.
Our other narcotics units in the area, we have 3. We have SledNet that operates in the South Lake Tahoe Basin. A lot of folks have thought, and we've been hearing lately, apparently, well, I thought they were disbanded. No, SledNet is still operating. They're still doing some good cases. We have WeNet on the West Slope. They do a lot of good cases. And then we're also part of Trident, which used to be called MAVMIT. Now it's called Trident, Tri-County Narcotics Enforcement Team. And they're doing some huge case. I just got a notice this morning of a case, an investigation that yielded over 30 pounds of methamphetamine, and I forget how many ounces of heroin.
Good.
But that's another thing. We're still seeing heroin. It's still a huge epidemic right now. We saw it coming after the change in formulation of OxyContin.
Right.
And it's probably one of the most prevalent ones out there we're seeing now, and it comes with a lot of overdoses as well. Yeah,
it does, and for a lot of these people that have gotten hooked on Vicodin or OxyContin, whatever it may be, it's the cheaper alternative for them, and that's why I think you're seeing the increase on the heroin situation. So it's not a good deal. But I feel for all those people that get on that, and hopefully they can get off it and get clean and get their life together. We just quickly wrapping this up. We talked a little bit about, in previous discussions, about some of the bills that we get passed down in California that are strictly against us legal, law-abiding gun owners.
Yep.
Right up front. And because I've never found a bad guy that really gives a heck about what the law is. I mean, that's the reason why they're a knucklehead anyway. And all these laws are just ridiculous. We've got some coming up that are so draconian. There's a possibility you'll never be able to buy another new handgun in California the way it's going. And we've got a guy that's going to be running for governor. It's going out there with an initiative trying to get signatures for things that are just so draconian. It's ridiculous how quickly we forget what the Second Amendment is all about. And do you want to speak to any of this, or?
No, Rob, you nailed it. None of them are good for public safety. None of them are good for public safety. They do nothing but make normally law-abiding citizens criminals. This is going to do nothing for trying to get the guns out of the hands of criminals and those that shouldn't have them. Period. Because they don't care. You said it. They're already knuckleheads. They don't care. They're going to get guns anyway.
Do what they want.
Look at Chicago. Look at D.C. Look at these areas that have the strictest gun laws in the nation. More strict, even so, believe it or not, than California.
Yes.
The worst crime in anywhere. A really, really good resource, and I don't know if you tap into this or not, but if you go to the California Rifle and Pistol Association, CRPA.org, I believe, and they have legislation. They have a link to legislation, and they color code them. Green for support,
right?
Red for oppose, and blue for watch, and then there's one other color. I encourage you to go on there and look at these bills that are coming through the system or proposed initiatives. The one that Rob was alluding to was Lieutenant Governor Gavin Newsom's initiative, which is just asinine. Even we got all the sheriffs in California approved an opposition letter. That doesn't happen very often.
No. You know who
we
else?
got our peers to do it.
Yeah, you did. That was amazing. I saw that. I couldn't believe
it.
But you know who else jumped on it? ACLU. They're against it as well.
Really?
Yes. Can
Imagine
you believe
that.
that? I couldn't believe that. I saw that.
Well, that's how asinine it
No,
is.
it is totally asinine. And as long as the rest of these bills that are just being thrown in here, and unfortunately, folks, it's going through these committees on a, if you're a Democrat or Republican, if you're a Democrat, everything that's, anti-gun, I want to pass. And it's just, instead of common sense, it's going down party lines now. And this stuff is ridiculous. We're going to make criminals out of law-abiding citizens. I guarantee you, because there's a number of bills here that nobody's going to follow. They're just not going to happen.
No.
So I get worked up about that.
We'll
do another show about
too.
this. We'll come back and see. We'll really get this.
Go to CRPA and look at those bills. And again, I encourage you, and I'm wearing my uniform today, but get involved. Call your assemblymen. Call your senators. Write those letters. Write those emails. Make the phone calls. Do what you can to let them know this is wrong.
We got to pay attention to this. One of the things that really is disturbing to me, and I get to see a lot of the people in the community by being one of the lead CCW instructors. I see a lot of people, and I talk about this. I said, are you involved? Are you reading these bills that are coming down? Are you taking the time to call? And it's amazing how people just look at me like, I don't know anything.
Because it's the old theory. They think it doesn't affect them. Well, it doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect me. This one doesn't affect me. That law doesn't affect me. But when the one hits you that does affect you, then you scream. Well, no, let's stand up now. Yeah,
absolutely. And so pay attention to what's going on. Look at CRPA. Look at Gun Owners of California. Look at CalGuns organizations. There's some lawsuits that are coming forward on some of the past bills that have been passed, but this is just ridiculous because the stuff that's here, literally, if these were all the past, you'd never be able to buy a gun again in the state.
Or ammunition.
Well, ammunition with a $50 background registration card that you have to get every year to be able to buy it. No more internet sales. All sales of ammunition is going to be face-to-face. I mean, it's just, I don't even want to get into it anymore, but pay attention, folks. I really do. And John, we've gone over our time here, but I want to thank you very much for once again coming on in and educating the public. And hey, for those of you out there, thank you very much for watching this show. I'm Rob with Old Guy Tech TV. This is Crime Beat. We'll see you next time.